Welcome to the Antlered podcast, where we discuss brews, witchcraft, spirituality, and more.
We hope through conversation we can continue the trend of the collective awakening or learn something new from ourselves and each other.
Today we will be drinking beer.
Or wine.
And tea.
And tea too.
Stuff.
All of it.
So come on in. Welcome to the Antlered podcast. No, just do it again. Just do it again.
No, it's fine. Keep going. I like it.
Fucking hell. All right.
Take 3.
All right.
Welcome to the Antlered podcast. I'm Elwyn and I'm a generational witch.
Are you?
Yes.
That's beautiful, babe.
Thank you.
I'm Amanda. I'm a moderator. And I'm so excited to speak to our guest today.
And talking to Jessie.
Jessie!
Jessie!
Yay! Woo! Da-da-da-da.
Hello.
Hello.
Right.
So, how is everybody?
Good.
Good. Yeah. What are you drinking, Jessie?
I'm drinking Ribena. I'm being very sort of well behaved today because I've done a couple of honorary things for my deities recently and I need to sort of step back from certain alcohols and beverages. So I'm just having Ribena. It looks like wine and it tastes nice. So, a balance.
Beautiful.
Nice.
What are you having, Dad?
I'm drinking a beer called
In the
Cards. It's hazy American pale ale. That's all it is.
Beautiful.
Lovely.
I'm having Merlot at 2 p.m.
There's no need to shame.
That's acceptable.
Classy.
Yeah, that's acceptable.
It's a classy day.
It is. It's one of those days.
It really is. It's been one of those weeks. Yeah? You burped a bit?
Cut that out.
Okay. Lovely.
Now.
Well, we want to know, how do you define your practice?
Yes.
And what words would you use to describe it?
I always say, personally for me, the best way to describe my practice is probably just the single word of eclectic, because I am such a magpie with all of the things that I do in not just my practice, but in my daily life. Like a lot of different things attract me and I find them fascinating and I like to learn about things. So eclectic is probably the best way to describe my craft, as well as chaotic. That doesn't mean I practice chaos magic. It just means that I am chaotic as a person. So that kind of enforces itself within my practice to some degree. In terms of what I do and how I define my practice, I don't know. The way I define my practice is by my way of helping people. A lot of the stuff that I do is to help and inform and to support. Obviously there are parts of my craft which are more private and they're more honorary, but I like to consider my craft more healing based and creativity based, like art based as well. Which is a lot of fun, but it's definitely eclectic and chaotic. Those are the words I would definitely use to describe it, because that's just who I am as a person. So it's inevitable that it's going to sort of work its way into what I do in my craft as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did you come into witchcraft, if I can ask?
I've always been fascinated by witchcraft. I always say to people, like, I popped out of the womb fascinated by witches, and not like Harry Potter witches or the stereotypical ones that you see on TV or media, but the historical witches and what they went through. And I've always been fascinated by it. So it's always been something that I've been interested in learning about. I started properly looking into it when I was about 8 years old. but I didn't start practicing properly until I was about 15 years old. And it wasn't even me saying I'm going to do witchcraft. It wasn't a definitive choice like that. It was just I fell into it by accident and went, I'm actually practicing witchcraft now. Okay, fair enough. And I just carried on from there. So it was really just sort of a slow build up to this eventual peak of no, now I'm actually doing witchcraft. And that realization came after about a year and a half of me actually doing it. I then realized what I was doing. And then it's sort of just grown from there and developed along with me in that chaotic process. But it's always been something I've been fascinated by. You know, living where I do, I'm near Pendle Hill, which is a massive sort of hotspot and historical place for witch trials in the UK. So I've always been surrounded by folklore and stuff about witches. So it wasn't difficult for me to become connected to witchcraft in that way. So it's been quite easy for me to sort of develop my path from quite a young age.
Yeah. That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing a TikTok with you telling your nan. It was so cute. And about your following and stuff. How has the rest of your family kind of handled that or accepted that?
I'm very lucky that my family have been extremely accepting. That does not mean that they believe in it. I was raised in a Christian household. They weren't heavy-handed with the beliefs or so strict that they wouldn't allow other people with different belief systems into their lives. They were very open and loving towards everybody. So I was very lucky that as a child and as I've grown and sort of become more open with my practice, my family have been very, very accepting. Most of my family is masculine or they're males. I live in a very sort of masculine environment with, you know, I'm the only girl in my generation in the entire family. So for the most part, most of my family just leave me to it. They just let me get on with it. They go, I'm not going to bother trying to stop you or get involved. I'm just going to let you get on with it. But for the females in my family, like the matriarchs in the family, like my nana, every time I've discussed it with any of them, they've been extremely accepting. With my nana, I think she was the most difficult. And, you know, by what a lot of people saw in that video, that was her first interaction with it. And she was completely fine after 5 minutes of me explaining what it was. And then afterwards, we had an hour-long conversation about it. And I showed her my room and she became really fascinated and so loving and accepting about it. My mother, she was really easy. I started under the guise of spirituality to sort of break the ice especially when I was younger. And I went, I'm spiritual, but really I was doing, you know, it was heavily based in witchcraft. And over time it just became, oh, I'm a witch. It became a joke at first. And she was like, okay, fair enough. And then over time she went, actually, no, you are practicing witchcraft. Okay. And now we have a running joke in my family, especially with my mom, that she is a witch. I always say, you could literally be a green witch, mom, if you wanted to. All you need to do is accept it. It feels like you have a massive herb garden. You talk to animals, including like insects and worms. You have all the animals under the sun. You do all of this stuff. You're very, very spiritual, very open to what I do. You can be a witch. You just have to accept it. But that's the ongoing joke at the moment. But everybody's been really accepting. All the men are just leaving me to it, and all the women are like asking questions and being really supportive. So I'm very lucky like that. I always have to acknowledge that I'm very fortunate. Not everybody has that blessing to have such an accepting family. So I always try and acknowledge that.
Absolutely. Do you think your family was pretty accepting as well, Owen?
Well, one part of the family was because it's what they did. It seems that of a tradition that the weird one It goes and stays with the
The
older generation. Yeah, the aunts.
It's like practical magic.
It was
Yeah.
my two aunts, and I lived with them,
Yeah.
and then they moved away, and I was
Mhm.
very sad. But then I lived with them again,
Yeah.
and we picked up where we left off, and it was fine.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
it happened that way, and it happened that way a generation before that as well. And probably one day someone will come and live with me, if not my kids at least.
Yeah.
and we'll do the same. But the rest of the family, no, it's this weird combination of fear. Fear, I think they'd say, partly because of the matriarchal
Mhm.
positions in the family. There was a great amount of respect and fear for them.
Mhm.
And so they didn't believe in it, but at the same point, whenever they needed help, they'll turn to them.
Yeah.
And then they believed in it all of a sudden.
Mm.
Yeah, so, and that's just, I think that's pretty much what you were saying in that sense of the masculine thing. It's like,
Yeah.
let's not allow ourselves to be seen investing in something like this.
Mhm.
And yet, my great aunt was a really, really good healer. And as soon as someone would hurt themselves or something like this, they would go to my great aunt.
Mhm.
And then it
Yeah.
was a different story, yeah, which is partly as my brother would never have lived if it wasn't for my aunt as well, because she's the one
Yeah.
who said there's something wrong, you need to go to the hospital. She's like, my mother was like, I'm fine, and she's like, no, something's wrong. Something's wrong in there. And when they got there, it literally saved his life.
Yeah, it's like that in our family as well. Especially with the masculine side, my dad especially, he's very sort of down to earth, a very northern sort of blokey bloke, very old school. But whenever I give like tarot readings or stuff like that, he does want to know what I'm doing and how it works. And I've done a couple of readings for him, and he has been really invested, and he does believe in it to some degree. But I think there's a certain part of him that won't allow him to fully invest everything into that belief. But with our family, it's very similar in terms of generational things. None of my family, to my knowledge at the moment, have practiced witchcraft full on in our history, so far as I know at the moment, but they have had certain intuitive gifts, or they've had certain instincts. Like my nana, she always said that she could smell rotting wood when someone had passed away. And she would get certain senses, and then she would find out that someone had died the same day.
Wow.
And so she had certain predictions. One of my family members or my ancestors predicted a lot of really horrific things, down to the time and like the day and the time of day. Like she was really specific about things. But it was all sort of hush hush, like they didn't talk about it. But now it's come to me in my sort of generation in the family, and I'm like, nah, I'm going to be dead open about it. I'm going to talk about it online, and you can't stop me.
Absolutely.
But they just let me get on with it now. They just give up.
Definitely. I think that's the thing in a lot of forms, especially in generational witchcraft, is that older generations didn't actually describe themselves as witches. There was too much of a stigma attached to it. They've been taught, that's not an acceptable term. It was used more of a slur, even not that far long ago, really. And I think now it's one of those things where it's not. We've it's a word that's been reclaimed, but and the more we use it as well, I think the easier it becomes for everyone. Because before that, so many people didn't know what they were, why they did these things, what they were feeling. But now it's so much easier. Put it under that thing of a witch. Someone said to me, it was during one of the live things, I said, technically, aren't you a warlock? I said, no, I'm a witch. That's it. there's that thing of the masculine thing of it.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's just a witch. Like, let's keep it simple.
yeah. I always say, it's like a question of gender roles and stuff like that. And I always go back to the argument of, well, if you want to talk about gender roles as witches, and is a witch female or male or non-binary, or what is it? I always just go back to the argument of, well, witches were, one of the big things about witches was that they fought against gender norms. So why can't a man or someone who is non-binary or they them, why can't they identify and call themselves a witch? Like, why restrict it when the whole point of witches was to provoke the patriarchy in the first place, and they were seen as such a big threat to masculinity and the church? Why can't it be that? So I always use that argument, but I do get a lot of people ask me that question as well. They say, I'm male, am I a warlock? I'm like, no. Or am I a wizard? I'm like, if you're from Lord of the Rings, maybe. Otherwise, no. No, unless you're from Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings, no.
No. Yeah, Wizard Harry.
I get called wizard. They call me wizard. I don't like it very much.
We call on our Patreon and our Discord, we call him Wizard Daddy, and we like to embarrass him because he gets so like, read me to filth, Wizard Daddy.
Makes me very uncomfortable.
So now you're in on it. You can also call
him Wizard Daddy. I know now.
You don't have to.
Please.
I know the context now.
I love it.
Yeah.
And now all our listeners can come into the live and be like, Wizard Daddy.
It's bad enough. Every time I make a video, someone will say Wizard Daddy. Or someone just comes up and says, bald. Just that. Bald. Just to make an observation. They go, bald. Thanks.
Thank you.
I didn't notice that.
Don't worry. Everyone calls me auntie or mom. I get a lot of people calling, mom, the American version, MOM. Yeah. A lot of people call me their mom or their aunt on Witch Talk, and I'm like, thank you.
I think that's a compliment, right?
I'm 24. I'm not old enough to have children yet, or I don't think I am. Please don't make me have children. I'm not responsible enough for that. And then you've got people calling me mom. It's just juxtaposition there.
Yeah,
you know.
I get that. What is it? Papa and Faja.
Faja.
Like a gold member. Faja. I'm like, okay.
Austin Powers and Faja.
I love gold.
I love gold. Would you like a smoke and a pancake? Pipe and a crepe? Bong and a blintz? I'll get started and that'll be it then. I won't be able to stop quoting.
Yeah. I love it though. I fully embrace it.
I love it as well. The Wizard Daddy is a bit weird because it's you all make it into a weird sexual thing.
Yeah, but I mean,
and it makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't really mind.
It's weird.
Like I mean, I'm sure you don't mind, but it's very much that sort of thing. A lot of I say that like I'm like in my 70s, but a lot of the youth now, they always say if they fancy someone, they go, "Daddy," and it's just like, oh God,
it's weird, especially when you've got kids as well. It's like, I don't. Please don't.
No.
Right.
I will call social services. Please don't do this to me. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Well, too late. So
yeah.
Sorry, not
yeah,
sorry.
You're stuck there now. It's too late
done.
now.
It's done.
It's gonna be literally engraved on your epitaph.
Yeah, right.
Wizard
Daddy.
Here lies Wizard Daddy.
Oh.
Go down in history as that.
Yeah.
Have you heard of
just
Merlin?
be in quotation marks?
Yeah.
There's just be a full name underneath Wizard Daddy, and that's it. There's nothing else to clarify.
No. I love that.
Oh my god. People are like, what was he then? Was he a pimp?
Was he a pimp?
Nobody knows. That's the myth of Wizard Daddy.
The enigma that is Wizard Daddy.
Oh my my God.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to stop that.
Nah, it's okay.
Keep it going.
Okay.
See, this is why I just stick with cats, because I can just kick him out of my room and let him roam outside and hunt mice for me.
Oh, we do that with ours.
No, we used to.
Bring me stuff. Just send them out.
We did. Funnily enough, our eldest went out once. That was when, wasn't it? When I wasn't well or something. I was laid up in bed, and I was asleep, and she came in with a deer's leg. She found in the woods.
Oh my God!
Just like chewed up deer's leg with the foot on it. She went, "Dad, look!
Do you want this?"
I was like,
I would have been, if that was my child, I would have been like, "I'm so proud of you," but I'm also slightly disturbed.
I was like, "Why
you just found it?"
I went, "Go and put it outside," and yes, I do.
Put it in a bag and put it outside for me. I'll be out there in a minute.
Kids are wild, dude.
You're the same. You find me all sorts of things.
Yeah, I do. I'll be like driving down the road. Like,
I found a possum. Do you want it?
Do you want this possum? You're like, no.
How intact is it? Yeah.
All right. What is the biggest thing you have learned from the Witch Talk or Instagram community, and what has your experience been like?
I think the biggest thing that I've sort of found is not only the amount of variety in people's personal experiences and their own personal craft, but also how politically driven people are in the community. It's quite surprising to see. Like, there's a lot which don't address the political side of witchcraft itself, because you know, witches do have a political past in terms of why they were persecuted in the first place and who they were, and you know, the majority obviously being of a certain gender. You know, there is political undertones to everything that witches have done and do in their, you know, in their lives.
Yeah.
But the amount of variety is the thing I love the most about the community and what I've seen, and the amount of acceptance as well. I mean, of course, there are some people who are very sort of restrictive in their own personal beliefs, which to me personally, I just say, I'm leaving you to it. That's your problem, not mine. I prefer to be part of the accepting side of things. Yeah. But there are some that I know can be quite restrictive and think, like we were saying, obviously, about it being a specific gender only that can be part of it, and some saying that the trans community cannot be part of it, or people in the LGBTQ plus community can't be part of it. I have seen them. Wow. Thankfully, though, they get drowned out by the mass majority of people who are like, no, everybody can be a part of it. It just takes time, practice, and research. And that's the part that I love. And I think that's why my experience has been so much fun. Because I only joined Witch Talk just over or just under 2 years ago now. And the amount of love and the amount of joy that I've seen and I've been a part of, or I've been blessed to be a part of in the community is so much fun, and it's so nice to see. Because it's very, for me, I've always been solitary. I've always been very isolated in my practice and in my craft and what I do. I've never been able to talk openly with people about my rituals or my spells and my practice or my deities or anything like that. So to have that community all of a sudden, especially during, you know, quite a big time in terms of lockdowns, and it was really empowering to see such an amazing community coming together. And of course there's issues in that community, but that's like any community, and every single community out there is going to have people that butt heads, who disagree, who have differing political views, and that's just part of people. That's just who we are as humans. We're never going to completely agree on everything, and when there's so many of you, it's impossible. So, you know, I always take the good with the bad, and learn from people as much as I can, but never try to, cause arguments or drama. I'm not about that. If I see drama going on, I either back away from it or try and make a light sort of joke of the situation if I can, if it's appropriate. But for the most part, it's such a joy to be part of the communities that are sort of built up over TikTok and Instagram.
Yeah.
It's very surprising to me, like not coming from a witchcraft background and coming into it because of him.
Wow.
Peer pressure. But it's very interesting how most people are very open and accepting, like you were saying, and there's just so much love and support, even just the outpouring of love and support for Newt, and it's just beautiful. It's actually really, really great when we can all get geared towards something that it's awesome.
It is. It is nice. It is. I know what you mean with in the sense of, a lot of they call it the witch talk drama, but it's I do find it sometimes quite surprising, because the whole point of witchcraft, and practice, each individual practice is as unique as the individual. It's the most personal thing. It's the perspective of that person, that individual. So I always find it strange when people disagree so heavily when they are completely aware that what they perceive and what they see in their practice is not ever going to be exactly the same as what someone else will. I find it funny. I think that's where the crossover of forms of religion and witchcraft come into play. And then that's one of the things I notice is this form of worship as well, in ways not just of deities, but other things. They put that same sense of worship in a religious sense to working with deities. And I think sometimes people get very defensive. They get very defensive of their practice and stuff like that because of it. Whereas me, I'm just like, whatever. I am though. I'm like, okay, fine. Like, it's
you do you, and
exactly,
whatever.
I mean, that's always been my perspective, even before I joined like witch talk and Instagram for witch related things. I've always just been of this opinion with any religion, with just people in general. You do you, I'll do me. If you overstep the mark, I'll let you know, and that'll be it. And if you push again, then we have a problem, and we will talk about it. We'll talk about it privately. And I think a lot of times people, because you have such, especially certain types of people, because there is sort of this place, it's almost like it becomes a battleground online when it's public, for you to display everything that you're feeling and see who picks a side as well. And it's almost like this sort of gladiator sort of Colosseum kind of feeling sometimes when it comes to drama. And there's a lot of people watching from the sidelines going, I don't know who's going to win, but I'm entertained. And then there's people like me that just walk out and I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm here for the fun stuff, not for the bloodshed. But it's people get so impassioned about what they talk about and what they do, and like you said, because it's so personal to people, it's like any sort of critique or tip or advice or like differential like sort of opinion or way of doing someone's practice becomes a threat almost. And if it's like appropriation and stuff like that, I completely get calling someone out and saying this isn't okay. But when it's completely unwarranted, or they're just saying maybe try this instead if it's not working, to then attack them over that, it raises a lot of questions for me on how strong their beliefs are and how safe and comfortable they are within themselves if they become so defensive so fast. You know,
Absolutely.
I'm a satirical person. You can make fun of me all you want because I will probably laugh along with you.
Yeah.
So, you know, when people make fun of Dionysian practices, I go, I do that. Like, I'll be that person to just laugh along with them. So yeah, I do find it quite jarring, but I get it because, you know, humans are people. We have certain expressions and we all have different beliefs and perspectives. So I get it to some degree. I just think sometimes it's taken to an extreme. Well, not for the majority of the community.
I think I've never fully, I don't think I've ever called someone out on their practice. If they're being an arsehole, then yeah. But it's never, it's more about the person rather than the actual their practice. You know what I mean?
And like, even then, like, sorry to interrupt you. Even then, he bounces ideas off of me and he's like, do you think this is wrong what this person is doing? And it's nice because he has that soundboard. Like, I don't feel like this is right. This has nothing to do with a personal practice. I just don't think what they're saying is okay. And I'm like, yeah, then if this is an actual immoral thing, it's a wrong thing, not immoral, but discriminatory
just
thing.
Discriminatory, or, you know,
you should stand up for something that you feel is oppressing others. But
let's be honest. I have a kind of like a rule of thumb for that though. Where if someone does it, it's like, okay, like, you're human, you make mistakes, we all make mistakes, but then you start to see patterns emerging, which was with one TikToker who used to constantly make videos at me trying to get me to bite.
I remember.
Do you remember that?
So
trying
funny.
to get me to bite, and making like complete nonsense, to be honest, about me. And I said, like, I was just like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, and so I blocked them. And then someone sent me a video and it was like, oh, see, look, he's blocked me. He doesn't. I was like, yeah, because you're just an idiot. Like, what?
That was funny.
I've got nothing to say.
You're talking bollocks.
Like, you just want me to start so there's friction, so you get views, and I'm not doing it. Like, it's completely pointless.
It's a weird sort of motivation now, and some people just thrive off that negativity, and like it is sort of that, you know, people, like, everyone has different terms for them, like energy vampire and all that stuff, and it is that idea of, I'm just going to drain everything from you, good or bad, and feed off of that, and if people antagonize me or whatever, I'm going to exist solely off of that sort of drama. And it's bizarre. I could never live like that. I have too much anxiety for that. I wouldn't be able to live my life.
It's that weird thing where sometimes, especially, they start to follow numbers, and they're trying to do things for clout, and it that's the things that annoy me. Because I'll do something and it will be so stupid, and you'll be like, what? Why did you make that video? Like, I was quite embarrassed actually. The other day I was sitting here, I was supposed to be working, it was late at night, but I was like in between doing readings, and I did the cat trend, the cat selfie trend.
Like the cats.
You know, and I was like, you know, and then I posted it. I was like, oh, that was quite good, making it dance like on to the beat of the thing. And someone said, like, someone commented and said, you know that this is a thing for sexual prowess, like, you're supposed to. I went, what? It's like, yeah, like the idea of how quick you can do it
with your fingers.
Tap with your fingers. I was like, what?
See, I didn't even know that, because I'm such an old lady when it comes to TikTok. I just see trends and go, oh, that's nice, and I just carry on scrolling. Like, I don't even think about the context behind them sometimes.
And I said to her, and she just couldn't stop laughing, so I deleted it. I was like, oh dear, my goodness. I would have kept it up and be like, look what I did. I'm a married man.
I just thought it was funny.
I love that.
Yeah, you know, you're secure in your relationship when that stuff doesn't bother you.
I didn't even realize.
I did this video. I apologize. I'm going to delete it. Just so you know, this is what happened, and you just. Okay, delete now. Bye.
Yeah. It's so funny. You're funny.
No.
Yeah.
I'm just old. I don't understand.
You're all right. Well, this kind of goes along with what we were talking about, but it was how do you handle trolling or negativity?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm such a satirical person that, you know, it's a lot of the time it bounces off of me. You know, I've had a lot of different comments. I did an interview with a particular quite big sort of company, and I thought it was really exciting at the time, and I have no issue with the company in the interview whatsoever. But when it was published and when it was shown to the public, the amount of hate comments and the amount of horrible things that were said, like the mass majority were horrible. And that, I think, was the only time that it got to me, but it didn't get to me because it was insulting me. It got to me because I knew that my mum and dad would see it. And, you know, my big thing has always been about making sure they're okay and making them proud. And they've always been proud of what I do. Even when I'm on TikTok and I'm doing what I do now, they're very proud of what I do. And I think it wasn't an issue of they're insulting me, so I'm hurt. It was they're going to see this and it's going to hurt them because I'm being called these names. And because they're saying, oh, you're ugly, you're fat, you don't know how to do your makeup, you're this, you're that. And so for me, I think that's the only time it got to me, because they were going to see it and I couldn't sort of mellow it or respond in an official way because the platform it was published on wasn't my platform. So as a sort of way of dealing with that, I made a jokey video on TikTok talking about the situation or just mentioning it in passing. And then I just got straight on with it, because then I realized, you know what, there's, you know, a couple of hundred people saying really horrible things on a particular website. But then when I go back to my platform, there's so many more that just sort of completely, it's like an iceberg effect. It's like negative comments, positive comments. And the only difference was one was on one website, one was on another. So for me, for the most part, the positive massively outweighs the negative. The only time it sort of annoys me or gets to me on TikTok in particular is when it's fear mongering. So I've had a few people threaten my life, which was annoying. Not something I took seriously. I was like,
well, I got some knives here.
Stupid. Like, guns are legal in my country. I don't know what it is. It might be my northern attitude to things. I go, try it. Just like,
I'll get
you know, block and move on. But I've had a few threaten my life, a few threaten my family, which is funny because they don't even know where I live or who my family are. But I think the ones that annoy me the most, again, not because it affects me, but because it affects the people that follow me and the people that come to me, is like the fear mongering or the specifically Christian driven views of you're going to hell, you need to repent, quoting scripture at me and stuff like that. Because they're not fear mongering towards me, they're fear mongering towards the people who come to me as a safe space. The people who don't feel secure, the people who need someone or want to come to me to feel comfortable in their own skin. And that's what annoys me more than anything. But again, I just block those people and delete their comments and just go through it as much as I can, which is tricky when you have so many comments a day, but I do try my best to sort of manage them. And thankfully, for the most part, people when they see them, if I miss the comment, people will just troll them back.
Good.
Or they'll say, okay, bye, and they'll just report them, or, you know. So it is quite good that a lot of the community and sort of self-policed in that way.
That's true.
But most of the time I just deal with it through trying to make people giggle or trying to make something satirical or funny in response. Because that's my coping mechanism. It's quite handy.
Yeah.
That's good.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you had threats in your life. That makes me so sad.
That is very sad, though.
And upsetting.
The people
I want to find them.
Why?
Because I'm a violent person.
Well, you're gonna just kill everyone.
I might. I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna go rogue.
What are you gonna do?
I don't fucking know.
Stop talking bollocks.
I'm gonna figure it out. I'll be a death witch. I'll kill everybody.
It's one of those
Bring
things. That's the point of that's the point. That's not what a death witch makes.
Oh shit! Well,
Death wish doesn't mean murdering people.
Oh shit!
It's just like, why did you kill all those people? I'm a death witch.
I'm a death witch.
It's part of my job. Okay.
It's my practice. What?
This is what, just use it again. Just be like, we talk about religion all the time. This is my personal practice, okay? This is what I do for a living.
No, love. No.
Don't look at me like that.
No. The point is, there's a block button. A lot of people say this thing about the block button as almost though it's a way of kind of like opting out of something if someone confronts you. I'm just like, don't piss off and just block them. Honestly, it's just like, that's what it's there for. Like, you keep harassing me, piss off. Like, that's it. They're gone.
No, that's how I deal with it. I'm just like, the block button is your friend. Like, if someone has an actual conversation or they want to have a conversation, I'm all for that. Whether it's private or in comments, I'm all for having conversations, and as long as they're polite about it and they treat me with a level of respect and I treat them with it vice versa, not a problem with that, because that's a debate. Then that's not an argument, that's a debate. But as soon as they start throwing insults, or they start threatening or fear mongering, that's no longer a debate. That is a lecture. That is someone trying to scare people and trying to hurt people. So that's when the block button comes in handy. But thankfully I don't have to use it that much. People are quite, the only people who come to me now are usually the people who find me entertaining to a degree. So that's always quite nice.
Yeah. I think your videos are so funny.
They are funny.
We crack up over them. They're so cute. I love them.
You. I never do them with the intention of I'm going to get loads and loads of views on this video. That's it. Like, I just, the way that I always say, and people don't believe me, the way that I am on TikTok is actually mellowed down to some degree in comparison to how which is usually it's the opposite way around. But I'm actually more chaotic and more crazy in real life than I am on TikTok. So I try and control it on TikTok, and then I go mental once I'm off camera. But I never do it with the intention of I'm gonna make people laugh, I want to get loads of views. I just make what I find or I think is a little bit funny, or I have fun making, and that is usually the stuff that does the best on my channel or on my account. But I never do it with the intention of this is going to be the viral video. Like, I never do that. I just want to make stuff that I find funny or I like making, or I can say to my family, look at this, and even if they don't get the reference in witchcraft terms or what I'm talking about, they still find it funny.
I do.
I never
show you things you're like, that's not funny.
I know you're too well.
Yeah, it's like I showed my mum one that I did the other day with a reference to Dionysus in it. And it's with Steve Harvey, is he called? The game show host.
Oh my gosh. Is it the sound of the sit on my face sound?
Yeah, that one. I used that sound and I thought, I'm not going to show my dad because he won't understand any of it. But I'll show my mum because she will understand at least what it means. And I showed her and she went, oh, what does Dionysus do again? Like, she had to ask her. I was like, oh, what is it? So I had to explain, and she went, oh, now I find it funny. I was like, cool, great. But she found it funny anyway, but it was just then adding the context of the witchcraft side of it. But I just do it for fun, and it's just, I'm very lucky that I sort of developed this sort of following that I have, because I never anticipated that. I came on TikTok for a laugh 2 years ago. Now I'm doing this full time.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing.
It is.
And it's really cool.
I started off. I stuck a child's toy on my head.
Yeah, you did. He stuck a suction cup toy and he spun it, and that was it.
It was like the thing. I was sitting on the couch and I just downloaded TikTok. And I didn't know how it worked. And there was this thing that said, the thing to your left is going to make you famous. And I was like, I looked and there's a child's toy. And so I just filmed myself and I stuck it on my head and span it. And then everyone was like, that's great. I was like, was it?
that
Yeah.
it could just be the most random thing. That's what happened with me. I never intended to join a witch community on TikTok, and then after a while I just found it. And I thought, oh, I'll see if I can make jokey videos and see what people find funny, or see what I find funny, and just have a laugh. And then it just exploded. And I thought, no pressure. This is a lot of, I just come out of uni, so I'd done a theatre degree. I did an acting degree, and I graduated. I got a first degree in acting, and then I came out of it, and then lockdown hit. The world completely stopped. And so I couldn't go to auditions. I lost out on 3 jobs in the first lockdown in the UK. I got a voice acting job, I got a filming job, and I got a TV show job, and I lost all of them because the pandemic hit. And then we came out of lockdown, and I got 3 more jobs, and I lost them because we went back into lockdown a few weeks later. And this was around the time that I joined TikTok, just as a way of relieving some of this sort of creative frustration. Like, I can't do anything. I need to join an app or something. And I did it just out of irony. I was like, it's probably going to be stupid and I'll never post anything. And then 2 years later, and I'm here. So it's a bizarre transformation. It's like, where are you now? Just in social media terms.
Kind of love that, though. Yeah. That's awesome. And congratulations on your degree.
Yeah. Yes, congratulations.
Oh, thank you. It was, my mum and dad wanted me to do something else, and I was like, no. I don't want to be an academic. I want to be an actress. Fuck you. Bye-bye.
Ain't that the way? Here go, Ben.
I'm going to ask this.
You can pick whatever you want.
No, I wasn't asking you. I'm just telling you.
Oh.
I'm going to ask you.
Go ahead, babe.
If you could give one piece of advice for new witches, what would it be?
Just one piece. Oh no. I have an entire list. Take it at your own pace is probably the best thing that I could say, because as someone who's been, obsessed and fascinated by witches my entire life, it's very easy to fall into the trap of expecting, especially with social media, you expect everybody's pace to be the same, everybody to learn in the same way, everybody to develop the same skills in the same time structure. And that's not how we work as people. When you're in school, everybody has different learning techniques, everybody has different ways that they learn, everybody learns at different paces. Some people learn it instantaneously, some people they really have to work hard to learn it and practice it, and some people it never sinks in, and they find that actually they're more attuned to other subjects and other skill sets that aren't something that you learn in terms of certain environments. So for me, I think definitely set your own pace, be patient with yourself. It's not anybody else's path, it's your own. And it, seeing me or seeing someone else on social media and, thinking, okay, I have to get to this certain level by year 1. And if I don't, then I'm a failure.
Yeah.
Setting that timer for yourself is a bad idea, because you are going to learn at different paces and you are going to mess up. Point blank, you are going to screw up at some point. So to put a timer on yourself, or to put pressure on yourself to do it at the same pace as me or the same pace as somebody else, is a bad idea, because you will, you're just making it less enjoyable for yourself. The thing that I love about witchcraft the most is it's fun for me. I love to learn. I love to do new things. And putting that pressure on yourself just takes the joy out of it. It no longer becomes something that you do to express yourself and to, find part of who you are and to learn. It becomes a chore. And that's the last thing that it should be, especially when you're in the early stages. It should never feel like a chore to, set a timer for yourself and to learn. It should be something that you enjoy. There's going to be times where you get bored, of course there is, but it should never be just a chore to go, I have to get this done in this time frame, otherwise I'm a failure and I'll never be a witch. That's ridiculous. You should never ever do that. So I would definitely say that's my one piece of advice, is to really pace yourself and do it in your own sort of time and be patient. You don't have to rush it, you know.
Yeah,
that's a good.
That's great advice. That's great advice. Yeah, I think many people have that problem.
I'm just taking my time.
That's not true.
The problem is as well, you two are together. And he's like,
learn something. Yeah.
I'm giving you homework for this week.
He really does.
I'm not being funny, but she sits there and I do readings like 3 times a week. We're doing readings and they go on for like 4 hours. I do lessons, but you're sitting in book clubs, homeworks. She sees me doing spell work and other things like that. And then she'll be like, what does that mean? I'm like, you sat here all this time, you haven't picked up anything.
Yeah, I can't say anything because I've been trying desperately for the past year and a half to learn runes and the runic system and learning how to divine with runes and stuff, and I'm terrible. And I work with Odin, so you can imagine his disappointment at the fact that I just can't do it. So just like, it's not my thing. Sorry. But no, it's like there's some people come to me and they go, I'm not learning this, or it's not sinking in right. What do I do? Or tarot's a big one, where a lot of people say, I'm not memorizing 78 cards, and I'm saying, are you serious? 78 cards, and then you've got the inversions on top of that.
Yeah.
And you're asking why you can't remember it all.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that many people who can memorize them all within the time frame that you set. They say, I can't learn all the cards. All right, how long have you been memorizing them for? A week. No, your brain can't do that. Like, give yourself some time. I still can't remember them. And I've been doing them since I've been studying tarot since I was like 10. I still don't remember them all. I'm too busy. I've got too much. I forget what I had for tea last night, and you're asking me to remember over 140 different types of cards and meetings. No, thank you.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
Yeah.
But so it's, I don't judge.
No, definitely. I'm terrible with runes. I'm really bad. I don't own a rune set. I used to. Still terrible. Tarot, fine. Runes, no.
Yeah.
No. I was taught tarot by my aunts. But runes. They had runes, but they were like, I just like them. I was like, do you use them? No. I just like looking at them. It's like, right.
I made a set out of clay last year. And I thought, right, I'm going to work with them. I'm going to paint them. They're going to be so pretty. I'm going to love working with them. Within a week, my head just was like, no, I can't do this. I'm just too tired. I don't want to look at them. So I just put them on my altar and was like, there you go, Odin. I have made you some runes. I'm not going to touch them. There you go. I've made you some runes. Happy birthday. Like, it's just like this weird thing. It's just like, there you go. Made you some runes. That's it. I can't use them. Enjoy.
Yeah.
I'm like that. I look at them and I'm like, lines and lines and lines.
Yeah.
That's it. Lines and lines.
Some more
yeah,
lines.
that's exactly what I'm like.
Yeah.
I prefer I like art and stuff like that. So I like to interpret art and interpret shapes and stuff. So when it's like really specific rudimentary lines, my brain just goes, it's like a graph. I just can't visualize anything. I can't understand them. So I just, I just can't do it.
Yeah. I think that's why I do bones. I just do bone casting. I get that one. That's fine. Bones is good.
Yeah.
No, I can't do runes.
One day, maybe.
One day. I do oghams.
Yeah,
I do oghams. That's I don't know. That's just easier because I see the tree in my head. So it's just like, I see the tree, and then I'm like, I know what that means.
Yeah. See, I've just started casting lots. I've made my own lot set, like pieces of wood and like pieces of porcelain and glass that I've found in the river and stones and some small crystals, and I've got like fox teeth and stuff. But with that, because it's obviously you're dictating it and what each means to yourself, and it's more tailored,
personal. Yeah.
I
I call it bones. It's not. Well, it is bones, but it's.
Yeah.
Can't see that.
I know. It's all this. It's the same thing, though. There's like an arrowhead.
But it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's very similar.
Yeah,
and it's because it's more tailored.
Yeah.
You know, it's more to the individual reader. So I quite like that. But I feel like at the minute my collection's not enough. I'm a little bit of a magpie when it comes to that. So I really want to get some other bones in there to add to the collection, and maybe some other pieces of like sea glass or pebbles, maybe a few shells to add in there. So it has different elements, and then I'll start using it.
I had one set and I was like, I should add more. I feel like I should add more. And then I got loads of bits and I added to them. And then every time I custom, like, don't know what you're doing there. Honestly, proverbial turd in the punch bowl. I'm looking at it like,
you just flick it out of the way, just like goodbye.
No. So in the end, I just went back to what it was before. I was like, if it's not broke, don't fix it, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's funny because the kids, especially our middle child who's almost 4, Morgan, she will like find stones or pine cones and stuff, and she'll run into his office and she'll like open his bones jar and like throw it in there. And shut it like
that is chaos magic in the works. Your middle child's like, I'm going to cause problems.
Yep.
Just walks away. I love that.
Absolutely. And you're like, well, you'll throw your bones and be like, what the fuck?
Yeah, no, honestly. I do like
you're just reading it midway through, you just stop. You're like, what is that?
That's what that came from. And I was doing a reading the other day, and I cast it, and this massive bit of obsidian fell out. Because I gave her a piece of obsidian. And she just like, I just put it in there.
That's a good spot.
The other one's obsessed. The youngest one's obsessed with tarot cards, and she'll come out and she'll take like, this is all like, I don't know how many decks of tarot cards, but she'll take them all and then put them all on the floor. But instead of just in piles, she'll mix them all
together.
Oh no!
Got to go through them and be like, this pile.
That's my worst nightmare.
Yeah.
It's not fun.
It's not fun.
No. My anxiety would be peaked if that happened.
Honestly.
I just start crying. I'm like, crying.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's rough sometimes. They're not allowed in the office, especially the smallest one, because of that. Not allowed.
Yeah. All right. We'll ask one more question because we've gone over on time now. Pick one.
Okay. Who or what do you draw inspiration from? I like that one.
Oh, that's a very good question. In terms of who I am, not just as a witch, but as just an individual, I like to think that I've always said to people, I'd love to think that I'm very much like my nana. So the nana in my video, who I'm talking to, that woman is the woman that I aspire to be when I'm older. Her sort of characteristic, she's the person, she's the type of person, like, you can walk into a room and before she even speaks, you just feel safe with her. You feel warm, you feel cozy, you feel a sense of home. Even if you're not related to her and you've never met her before, you just feel safe with her. And I always say to people that as a person, that's who I want to be. And that's who I feel sort of inspired by, is like the matriarchal sort of people in my family. Because it's a very masculine family, but I was raised by the women. So I draw inspiration from my nana, who's here still, and my nana who passed away. She was very, very strong-willed and sort of very northern, as I say, very, very stubborn. She could, she was a proper lass, as we say. And then my mom, she's very much the same as my nana, who's still here, very nurturing, very loving, but also a bit of a mother's bear, where she will defend people who she cares about, and she's very strong. But in terms of like my aesthetic and what I do in my craft, and I'm very inspired by artists, and because I studied film and I studied like different forms of art. I love things like Hieronymus Bosch, who's a really cool artist. I like art and movement and the art of movement, and that takes a lot in terms of what inspires my craft and my deities who I work with. So I am very much inspired by different types of artists as well, and different types of people. Like Salvador Dali is another one who I really like, his sort of surrealist stuff. So when people say you're quite unusual, I'm like, I'm the embodiment of surrealism. Because I like to throw people off and to, you know, be slightly cozy but creepy. It's kind of the perfect balance for me. So it's like coziness and comfortability with my family, and then the sort of creepy surreal side from like different artists and performers and practitioners. So it's a weird blend, but it comes together in sort of me as a person. So yeah, I draw inspiration from very strange places, but they make sense to me in my chaotic brain.
I love that.
Yeah. I like that.
Well, is there anything you want to promote?
Probably my TikTok and my Instagram, obviously. So Jessie_Streek. You'll find lots of chaotic and weird videos on there. Like I hate to call them comedy videos, but my comedy videos I like to put on there and just to have fun with. Also my Instagram is where I do a lot of my tarot readings and stuff. I also now have a Patreon, Jessie's Witchy School, where I'm now teaching privately for people of different levels, and trying to educate them and give them a support group so that they have a safe space to come to and ask questions. And we do different subjects every month. But yeah, I think Jessie_Streek on TikTok and Instagram, and then Jessie's Witchy School on Patreon, and that's me.
Awesome.
Yay!
Fantastic.
Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you ever so much.
You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook as the Antlered Crown, or on YouTube as Elwyn the Witch.
Yes.
That's your line.
Yeah, I know. I'm finding it. I'm finding it. I offer a variety of readings, including bone, tarot, medium connection, deity confirmations, as well as spiritual consultations, which are done live, scheduled via Zoom. I also offer spell work and custom merchandise, all which you can find on my website, theantleredcrown.com.
You can also join our community on Patreon, get access to the Discord, group meetings, one-on-ones, tutorials,
Homework.
Discounts, goodies, homework.
Yeah.
Okay.
Too much energy now.
Speaking of which, here's our patron shout out. You want to read them? Don't read the last names right there.
Well, I wasn't going to. They haven't got last names.
Okay, I'll read them then.
I'll
Patron shout out.
This week's well, this week is it this week?
Yeah.
Lindsay, Erin, Megan, Lacey, Malachite, and Bella.
Thanks for joining our Discord and our Patreon.
Thank you.
And next time we're going to talk about kitchen magic.
Are we?
Well, I said spoon magic, and you're like, I don't know what that is. So then we decide on kitchen magic.
Spoon magic. All I know is Hobbs. That's all I know about spoons.
Well, we'll figure out when we get there.
That's pretty much it.
And always remember,
tip your witch, bitch.
Bye-bye.
Bye.